All right, listen up. I've got a wild story for you. This is a police officer who secretly eats people. Before we dive into this intriguing story, don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel for more interesting stories. Picture this, a guy named Gilberto. Now, Gilberto is 28 years old when this whole thing kicks off, and he's living in Queens, New York. He's doing okay for himself, works as a police officer, just got married, and even has a baby. But here's the twist. Dude's got some pretty dark fantasies going on in his head. We're talking fantasies about kidnapping, murder, and, well, eating people. Yeah, it's as messed up as it sounds. Now, he keeps these thoughts to himself because, who would want to share that kind of stuff? But everything changes in 2012. One day, Gilberto stumbles onto some online forums, places where people with similar, let's just say, unusual interests gather, and suddenly, he feels like he's found his people. They start talking about all these twisted thoughts, and he's not alone anymore. He connects with others who share his bizarre fantasies. They even talk about eating people, and Gilberto starts telling them about what he'd love to do to his wife, Kathleen. Now, Kathleen has no clue about any of this. They've been married for a while, and she thinks everything's fine. Meanwhile, Gilberto's sharing the most disturbing thoughts with his online friends, and they're loving it. It gives him more fuel for his twisted imagination, so he keeps cranking out new, even worse scenarios. Soon, it's not just about his wife anymore. He starts coming up with horrifying plots about people in his life, his coworkers, friends, even his neighbors. He writes out detailed plans for how he'd kidnap, kill, and then consume them. Disturbing stuff, right? And it gets worse. One day, he meets a guy named Michael online who's just as into this whole eating people thing. So, Gilberto, without missing a beat, sends Michael a photo of his wife's friend and says, "Hey, want me to kidnap her for you?" Michael's like, "Yeah, I'm interested," and they end up negotiating a price $5,000. Now, thankfully, Gilberto doesn't actually go through with kidnapping this woman. But this is where things get even crazier. He starts regularly offering up women to his creepy online friends. He talks about chopping up a woman's feet, barbecuing them, and making her watch while she's still alive. Seriously, it's beyond messed up. Then he takes it a step further and starts making plans for even more people. He writes up a document called Abducting and Cooking Kimberly. Yeah, that's the title, and it's all about his former classmate, Kimberly. He even makes a list of all the things he would need to pull off his sick fantasy: chloroform, rope, plastic bags for the car trunk. You name it. He sends this document to his online friends, and they're all like, "Great job, dude." But it gets even more disturbing. He starts texting one of his online buddies from Pakistan, and he actually sends a picture of his wife Kathleen in a bikini. And then they start talking about how they could both take her to India, do some unspeakable things, and then, yeah, you can guess the rest. Here's the kicker. Gilberto's still a police officer at this point, and he decides that he needs to gather more info about potential victims. So he starts using his access to the police database to look up women. He starts getting personal details on over 80 women names, addresses, photos, criminal records. He's even planning out how he would abduct, kill, and cook them. And he's sharing all of this with his online friends. Now here's where the story takes a turn. Kathleen, his wife, starts noticing something off. She realizes that whenever Gilberto's on his computer, he's erasing his browser history. So, being the smart woman she is, she installs spyware on his computer. And what she finds is enough to make anyone's skin crawl. She sees everything: his chats with creepy online friends, his plans, the pictures of women he's collecting, and even disturbing images of women being hurt. Obviously, Kathleen is freaked out, so she goes straight to the police. Gilberto gets arrested. In 2013, he goes to trial, and his defense is all about how he was just role-playing with his online buddies. But the jury isn't buying it. They find him guilty. But then, in 2014, the appeals court overturns the conviction. They decide it was just fantasy, role-playing, and that he never actually planned to carry out any of his sick ideas. So after 21 months in jail, Gilberto gets released. Now here's the weird part. Since his release, he's apparently turned into an author of extreme horror novels, which, given the nature of his fantasies, might not be that surprising. But man, this whole thing is beyond chilling. Share your thoughts in the comments section. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more intriguing stories.